Disney is the company that made a lot of our childhood movies. Aladdin, Pocahontas, we grew up with these ones. But since 2000, they've been a little bit of a hot and cold streak. Since then, what's the worst movie they've produced? But more importantly, what's the best? This is Ranked, and that's what we're here to find out. Coming at the bottom has to be Chicken Little. Chicken Little is a terrible movie. It has bad animation, horrible characters, and overall it's just mean-spirited. The story isn't funny, the jokes don't land. As a movie, it's a mess, and it's hard to believe this garbage was produced by Disney. Disney has released some bad movies in the past, but Chicken Little has to be the worst. Coming in next will be Home on the Range. Home on the Range is not good for one very simple reason. It's forgettable. The story meanders completely out of nowhere. It has wonderful voice talent that is completely squandered on a terrible plot. There's nothing about Home on the Range that is memorable, and as such, it lands near the bottom. Dinosaur, when it was released, was a visual marvel, but since then, the graphics have not aged well. Add to that some lame characters and a boring story, and you're just left with a Land Before Time ripoff. Fun fact, Disney released a Winnie the Pooh movie in 2011. However, it made almost zero cultural impact. Maybe because most people already have a Winnie the Pooh story that they enjoy, but overall, if you haven't seen it, it's not the worst Disney movie, but by no means would I consider it anywhere close to being the best. Disney released Fantasia 2000 in the hopes that they could start a new Fantasia franchise. However, that didn't turn out so good. Fantasia has a lot of promise for it. The whale sequence is wonderful, the flamingo sequence is really funny, and the music, as always, is hilarious. The problem lies in that they tried to add celebrity cameos, which just makes this more of a time capsule of the era, rather than something that can withstand the progressing years. Do I really want to see Steve Martin, Bette Midler, and Penn and Teller, all of whom I love, introducing Disney song sequences? No. And is it necessary? Does it enhance the story in any way? No. Fantasia should just be allowed to be Fantasia, and that's the magic of it. Adding anything to it ends up just taking away and harming it as a whole. Bolt was released in 2008 and stars John Travolta and Miley Cyrus, so of course I should hate this movie. But it's surprisingly cute. A lot of it works really well. The story is clever and original, the story of a dog who thinks he has superpowers because he's a dog on a TV show. The love between him and his owner is real, and though I'm not a huge Miley Cyrus or John Travolta fan, they both work really well, and even the song that they sing together is really cute and catchy. Is Bolt amazing? No, but it's elevated by one simple principle, and that's one outstanding character in Rhino the hamster. This hamster easily steals the show every scene he's in, and if you ever get a chance to see it, it's worth it if only for the parts that he's on. Is it bad? No. Is it great? No. But it's a good movie, elevated slightly due to an excellent character introduction. Lilo and Stitch came out in 2002, and while it's not amazing, it also has an excellent character. Stitch is funny, Stitch is fun. A lot of people really enjoy it. Now, is the movie wonderful? No. It has a lot of problems, it stops and starts, it doesn't really have an overarching theme other than family, I guess. But, as a whole, it has cute moments, the relationship between the sisters works well enough. It is good, if not a little bit forgettable, with one outstanding character in the character of Stitch. Treasure Planet came out at a time where people did not want traditionally animated Disney movies. And it's kind of a shame because the story is good. It's Treasure Island redone as a planet that is beautiful, and the animation in this piece is stunning. It's Disney doing what Disney did best. It is an adventure story with characters who are interesting even if they're not exceptionally deep. Motivations are simple, but at least everything's moving forward. But this eye candy in this movie is spectacular. It is definitely worth watching if only for the amazing planetary vistas that you see throughout the entire piece. There is rarely a frame where I'm not enjoying something that I am watching. And on that note, we go to Atlantis, which is another visually appealing movie with very, very flat characters. Now, overall, what sets Treasure Planet a little bit below Atlantis is that Atlantis at least has an interesting story that tries to go somewhere. Playing with the mythology of Atlantis is an interesting idea, and the voice acting in this movie is quite well done. If the characters had been deeper, if they had had more to do, or maybe they hadn't tried to focus on so many characters, it would have been a much more solid movie. But as it is, Atlantis is okay. It telegraphs pretty easily, you know what's going to happen at the end, at the beginning, but it's visually stunning, and overall, it's definitely worth a watch. Brother Bear is a great movie that is torpedoed by horrible music. Phil Collins, after Tarzan, has no right in a Disney movie. Having songs that so blatantly whack you over the head with what emotion you're supposed to be feeling is not a good thing. It's not good design. It's not good feelings. I don't want to be told what I'm supposed to be feeling as I'm watching the movie. Now, overall, Brother Bear is a little bit better than the other two simply because it has more engaging characters. The Canadian moose are great, the brother storyline works really well, and as a whole, this movie is firing on all cylinders. It's beautiful, and to have such an interesting story being told about native mythology is a really interesting twist, and something that Disney didn't do since Pocahontas and hasn't done since Brother Bear. It is something that deserves a lot more attention than it gets, and with Zootopia, they touch on it, but we'll get to that later. The Emperor's New Groove is funny. If you grew up with it and are of the time, it's hilarious. If you're watching it for the first time today, maybe not so much. Emperor's New Groove has not aged well. Is it still funny? Yeah, it's hilarious. It's a wonderful film. Is it 100% necessary viewing? Yes, for one reason and one reason only. Kronk. Kronk is timeless, Kronk is hilarious, Kronk is the reason you watch this movie. If you aren't a fan of it, you probably haven't seen much of Kronk in it. Tiana is one of the best Disney princesses that's ever been made. She works hard, she's interesting, she's engaging, still funny, and likable. She is the perfect Disney princess, and not because she is a traditional one. Yes, Tiana is black, and no, that does not have anything to do with the movie as a whole. If you haven't seen this movie because of it, you are losing out, and should see it immediately. It has some of the best characters that Disney's written. The friend character is one of the most hilarious that they've ever drawn. It has an engaging villain in Baron Samedi, and the prince, while interesting and engaging and lazy, is okay. Yes, the story does meander a little bit towards the middle, but it's a Disney movie, it's allowed to, and if it's always this interesting and well done, I don't care. Of course I'm gonna love Wreck-It Ralph. I'm a nerd. Why wouldn't I? The story is fun, the characters are well done, and the entire environment is engaging. Yes, they spend a little bit too much time in the racer at the end, but when you see the twist at the end, it makes sense. There's a point to it. It's not just needless. Big Hero 6 has one amazing character in Baymax. It has one wonderful relationship between two brothers that is strong. It has side characters who are interesting enough to justify their presence. I wish that the characters had been fleshed out deeper, but really what roots this movie is the relationship between Baymax and Hero, named Hero. It is funny, it's engaging, the story is realistic. Having Baymax be such a lovable, naive character without being annoying is a really hard line to cross. And the fact that they walk it so well is a testament to how far Disney's come. Not to mention they're now playing around with a Marvel franchise, which is huge. Big Hero 6 is definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it. If you have, you know what I'm talking about. Meet the Robinsons does not get enough love in today's Disney pantheon. It is a wonderful story all about loss and wanting to belong, which is something that a lot of people feel, especially in case of this story. Meet the Robinsons is energetic. The story is frantic, but what really sets it apart for me is the fact that it is a warm, caring story all about belonging, which not only is something we all want, but it's enhanced through every element of this piece. From the beginning, you get the feeling that there's something crazy and spectacular going on here. It is fun, it is frantic, the animation is excellent, and they even have a brief horror sequence, which is something I have never seen in a Disney movie before, that was executed as well. If you haven't seen Meet the Robinsons, you owe it to yourself to see it, because it is a hilarious movie. It has good running jokes that recall back to previous ones, it has a lot of really energetic characters, and if you don't take it too seriously, it is a lot of fun. Everyone knows about Frozen. I don't have to say anything about Frozen. If you haven't seen Frozen, go see it. If you have and you don't like it, just let it go. Tangled is better than Frozen. Better villain, better princess, better love interest. Tangled is well done, it's better executed, it's a lot more fun, and it's more energetic than Frozen. If you don't agree, that's your prerogative. They are both excellent Disney movies. But for what it's worth, Tangled is the more superior film. Zootopia is the best Disney movie that they've released since 2000. Why? Well, simple. It is a movie that is not only perfectly situated for the time that we are currently living in, The timing for this movie couldn't have been more perfect. It tackles serious grown-up issues in a major way, and does it very, very smartly. It is funny, it's engaging, the characters are some of the best that Disney's ever created. Judy and Nick especially shine. Overall, it is not only worth seeing, I would say if you haven't seen it yet, you owe it to yourself to see it before it leaves theaters. Coming in at number 18, Chicken Little. 17, Home on the Range. 16, Dinosaur. 15, Winnie the Pooh. 14, Fantasia 2000. 13, Bolt. 12, Lilo and Stitch. 11, Treasure Planet. 10, Atlantis. 9, Brother Bear. 8, Emperor's New Groove. 7, Princess and the Frog. 6, Wreck-It Ralph. 5, Big Hero 6. 4, Meet the Robinsons. 3, Frozen. 2, Tangled. And coming in at number 1, Zootopia. What do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? Comment on any things you'd like to see on the future. Want a topic that you want covered? The only way to let me know is to leave a little comment there below. Thanks for coming, and this has been Ranked.